watching local news that matters. This is Local 44 Morning Brew.
Good morning. I'm here with film critic Julia Swift to talk about Vermont's International Film Fest coming up. So Julia, tell me about it.
Well, we're doing it in person and virtual,
Finally.
which is so exciting.
Both.
So, because not everyone's ready to come back, right? So
That's true.
most of the films will have a virtual option as well as an in-person option.
Okay, good to know.
But it's so much fun, and when they're in person, we're going to be not having as many people as we usually do, but still plenty of room for everyone because it's going to be at most of them are going to be at Main Street Landing at the big theater right down on the waterfront, which is huge and so awesome.
Yeah.
And we have some amazing films.
Ooh, yeah.
We worked really hard on the programming committee this year, so it was hard, right? Because some people hadn't been making films for a while, but we found some really special films from all around the world that you wouldn't have seen. So one of my favorite is actually one that I saw at Sundance, Hive.
Okay.
And it's about a group of women who survived the Kosovo War, but their husbands disappeared during the war, so they're not officially dead, but they're sort of in this in-between land. And so it's based on the true story of a woman who started gathering all of these other women together and created a business where they make these red pepper sauce. But just getting the women together was very controversial in that. And just saying, like, maybe our husbands aren't coming back. So it's a narrative, it's a fiction, it's not documentary, even though it's based on this true story, but it's very exciting and empowering and sweet, and it's really so there you see her with the red peppers, and it made me want to have red pepper sauce, which
I know, that sounds so good.
But it was really exciting to see this woman really come into her own and get the other women in the community to work with her and fight some of the sexism that was going on, and also just come to terms with that their husbands were not going to be coming back.
Yeah, wow, that's very interesting.
Yeah, so really a powerful film.
And where was this one? What country was this from?
So this is Kosovo. Well, it's from Macedonia. It's from a bunch of different countries. A lot of international films are made, like 5 different countries.
Gotcha.
But it was about the Kosovo War.
Wow.
Another one of my favorites is Laughter, which is a French-Canadian film, so it's also Le Rire. This is one that is, if you're into absurdist, you know, you want something that has a lot of visual allegories. So it's about a world where in Quebec, like, what if there had been some sort of a war where a civil war where people who disagreed with the government were killed.
Oh yeah.
So it starts out very dark.
Okay.
And then it goes into the afterworld where all of a sudden, you know, that after time where all of a sudden people are pretending like this never happened.
Oh,
so it's very much about politics, about how we deal with grief. So very absurdist. And then my most favorite of all. Is called Money Has Four Legs.
Okay.
And this one is it's Burmese, it's from Myanmar.
Okay.
And I saw this film, it's about a young filmmaker who's struggling to get his film made, and the reason it's called Money Has Four Legs is because every time he gets enough money to make his film, like, it disappears for some reason. You know, if the camera gets broken or he gets a fine for parking somewhere. Again, it's not a documentary, it's narrative, and it's so beautifully done, so wonderful, and we're actually going to be having an in-person with the director who's on the run and his co-writer is in prison right now. So,
wow.
Fascinating story.
Very interesting. Those sound like some very interesting films to check out. Yes. And thank you, Julia, for coming in and telling us about them. We'll stick